One of the easiest and cheapest ways to get music that's free for you is in YouTube itself. So what you want to do is start by going to Video Manager. And then once you're in that, on the left panel, we're going to go down to Create. And after clicking Create, we're automatically in the library, audio library this time. So there are 3 tabs here: free music, ad-supported music, and sound effects. I don't even like their sound effects. But anyway, we're going to start at free music. And then you'll see some light gray headers here where you can make some music your favorite. But once you like it, you can download it and bring it into your video editor. So we can choose by genre. We can choose by mood, by instrument, by duration. And by the way, most of the durations of what's in their audio library is fairly short, like under 2 minutes. Or by attribution, or if there was some music that you remember or a particular artist you remember, you can search it here. So let's say I want to choose music that has a happy sound. So I'm just going to sort by that. Now you'll see some of these have this little man here and little man icon. When you mouse over it, it says Creative Commons Attribution. So for these, when you click it, it will say, you're free to use this song and monetize your video, but you must include the following in your video description. And then there's some text that they would want you to copy and paste and put into the description. So all of this music, and this is the most important thing, all the music in here you can use and still request that the video be monetized, and YouTube will not have a problem with it. Now what they're doing with music is if you're putting music on your video and you want to monetize it, and it's not music that you have the copyright or you have the right to put on your video, they're not letting you monetize it. It looks like there's an ad on it, but you're not getting the revenue ad share. So what they'll do is they'll reach out to the particular owner of that music and they'll say, here's a video that has your music. We can shut it down, or YouTube and the owner can split the ad revenue. Most of the time, the owner will choose to split the ad revenue. They'll put an ad on it, but you won't get the money for it. And they might even turn off monetization from their end. All right, so let's say you find one. Well, you don't know what these sound like till you listen. So here's one called Walk With Me. What you do is you click this button on the left, and then you can listen to it. And if you don't like it, you can just say stop. Now let's say we finally find one down here. And let's say you think, oh yeah, you know, I might want that sometime. So what you do is you come over to the right. I don't bother with clicking the favorite status. I just go ahead and download it if I like it. So you click download, and then here's another one. Let's just listen to this one. Okay, and let's say I want that one. So I'm going to download that one. So you see them down here in the bottom of my screen. So now what I'm going to do is switch over to my downloads, and you see them here. And then I keep an actual folder for YouTube music. So that's up here, and I just click them and I drag them into what I call music from YouTube, and I move it over. All right, now back to YouTube. I did say that they have some sound effects here. They're not that great. I was looking for one that sounded like an old-fashioned camera. You know how the camera sounds when you take a picture, or how it used to sound. and couldn't find it. They had some things, but it was like, really? I could probably record something myself and make it sound better. So here's an airplane in flight, or an air whoosh underwater. What is an air whoosh underwater? Okay, it's kind of cool. It's 1 second long. These are alphabetized here, but let's say I wanted a cash register. You know, cha-ching. So you'd think, no match is found. Really, you know, that's kind of a common sound. How about ricochet? Ricochet. Do they have ricochet? Here's a pool table shot. That's kind of neat. So you can come in here and you can see it doesn't have the little man next to it at all. And then you can download these and use them in your video. So going back to the free music again, I want to make it just really clear that if you use any of these that have the Creative Commons attribution, somewhere you're going to have to save this information. So when you download the music, you're going to have to copy and paste this text from this word direct all the way to the end of the link and save it in a folder somewhere, and maybe go back to your files over here where you keep your music from YouTube, and on one that you bring in, you might even want to change the name. So let's say that Good Starts actually needed attribution, and so I might change the name to just add the word attribution to the end. Well, it doesn't, so I'm going to take that off, but I think you get the idea. So these then can be pulled into your software, your video editing software. Now, you can also use royalty-free music that you've purchased. Just make sure to add the text to each video's description. All right, just like this, or whatever they tell you to use. Now, in the notes, I'm going to have a PDF file that's attached. Here's another resource, incompetech.com/music/royalty-free. They have all kinds of stuff in here. And again, you can sort it by genre. I go ahead and I attribute to this guy, and he's really interesting. And he also has some on YouTube itself where you can listen and see what he's written. And here's another person. This is actually on YouTube, and I'll have a link to this on the notes in the PDF file. When you're ready to bring music into your video editor, you import it just like you would import anything else. So I'm going to go in to find my music from YouTube. And let's say I want this one. So I have a video here of my dog, and I'm going to place that into the timeline. And let's say I don't have an intro yet. So here's the dog, and of course she's going to be barking. And then let's say I want the music to be over the particular video. So first I'm going to check my video out here. She does start barking finally. So let's say I want to bring the music in to start right at this point. So I'm going to bring in this dog park. That's what it's called. And you can tell by the lines that it's really loud. So if I played it here, you'd hear me talking, the dog barking, and lots of loud music. And of course, I don't want that. I want the music to be quieter. So what I need to do is lock track 1, where the audio is. I don't want to change the audio on that. I only want to change the audio on track 2. So I'm going to click audio after I've locked the other tracks, because I only want to bring the audio down on the music. So now the music track is the only one chosen, and I'm going to click volume down several times and then play it and see if it's the right volume. And if it's still a little bit loud, I can still bring it down, or if I went a little too far, I can bring the volume back up. Now at the end of the clip, when we go over all the way over to the right, we can see the music is, this time it's actually longer than the video, which doesn't always happen. So let's say that it's actually a lot shorter, because this is one I want to show you. So let's say it comes to here and it just kind of ends abruptly. What I can do is choose a fade out. So it'll sound like this. And it'll just fade a little bit. Now let's say again that this is some of the music that comes out of YouTube is really, really short. So if I get this the length I want, I can copy it and I can paste it in. So what I'm going to do, it's already highlighted. I clicked it with the left mouse, and now I'm going to right click it with the right mouse, click copy. And sometimes my editor doesn't really know what I want to do. So I'm going to click over to the left, and I'm going to, on the keyboard, click Control V, and it knew kind of where to put it. It's looking at the playhead. So I'm just going to keep pasting this, or I can right click and paste. Sometimes, see what I mean? I forgot where the playhead was. So if I put the playhead over here and click paste, and magically it's almost as long as my video. But if it wasn't, and I wanted this little bit, let's see if it's gonna, no, it just starts all over again. So if this part's chosen, I could bring that out, but now with this one chosen, I'm going to fade out again. All right. So that's how you bring in music in the background and tone the music down in volume. You have to lock the other tracks, make the music quieter, and fade out. And so when we get to the end, it sounds like this. And then it will fade very nicely. Here's a simple way to create an intro for your videos. When you get more advanced, you can do something more complicated than this, but you could start with a PowerPoint that you just toss some images into and some text. I've already saved this as a PowerPoint file. Now I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and I'll save it like that with the same name and current slide only. Now I'm going to go over to my video editing software, and I'm going to import it, as long as I remember where I put it. But I'm also going to import some music. So since I started on the music where I came in, I'm going to import that first. Then I'm going to locate my document that I just saved for this. So I'm calling it a test. But you can, of course, call it whatever you want. So you don't pull in the PowerPoint, you pull in the JPEG. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work with two tracks. So I'm going to pull the JPEG down first, and I'm actually going to increase the size, the zoom, and then I'm going to bring in the music on the second track. And of course, it's very loud and it's very long. So I only want it to be a few seconds long, and we can see that the PowerPoint is taking me to about 5 seconds. I might want it to be a little longer because I'm also going to do some zooming. So what I'm going to do is bring this out to about here, and then I'm going to listen to see where I want to cut it off based on maybe a normal place where the music might stop. Okay, maybe about right there. Actually, I like where that is. So now I'm going to zoom back, and I'm actually going to grab this music and shrink it. And actually, I just thought of an easier way. With my playhead where it is, I'm going to right click the playhead and click split all. And then I'm going to take this part to the right, click it, right click, and delete. Okay. So now with this track, and I only have one audio right now, so I don't really need to lock track one. I'm going to go to audio. I'm going to choose it and click fade out and listen to it. All right. Now let's say I still decide that's a little too loud. Then I'll just bring the volume down a little bit. Listen for a second. Maybe down one more time. All right. So before I go any further, I'm going to save the project as a name. But I'm going to put it into, I know it's not an image, but test intro video. Now, another thing we can do is play with some zooming. And this is a little more advanced when you're in your video editor. And it's, for me, it's in visual properties. And I need to pick the image. So let's say I want to wind up in a full screen like this. But let's say when I start out, now this is where I want to wind up. But when I start out, I actually want to be a little more zoomed in, and then it'll zoom out as we work on this. So what I'm going to do is say, let's say I want it to be about here. I'm going to add an animation, and I'm going to pull it all the way back. And like I said, this is where I want it to wind up. Now I'm going to move my playhead all the way to the beginning, and I'm going to zoom in a bit. All right. And now click play. All right. So now I'm ready to save, and now I'm ready to produce the file. And in the next clip, we'll show you how I bring this in then to another video, because it's the produced file that you'll be importing. All right, so I'm back to clean Camtasia Studio in my video editor, and now I'm ready to import some media. So first I'm going to import, make sure I know where my video is. And it probably put it somewhere else. That's okay. And you get so many of these files, and then you need to remember where you put it. Okay, so there's my test intro video, and then let's say I want to bring in some other video. So let's look at where I had my doggy. Let's see. Let's go all the way down to my raw video. Because let's just say I was starting from scratch. All right. So I'm going to drag and drop the intro video in first, and then I'm going to pull in the dog video. So now let's play. And that is how you bring in the intro video that you've already produced. One option for getting a really great intro for your videos is through this website, introchamp.com. I love this. And if you've seen the introductions to my videos in Udemy, this is where I bought mine. They have so many to choose from. I'm going to go into the templates area, and then there's just so many here. You really have to click and choose something from the category. They have all kinds of themes. I'm usually going into the business and technology, but let's say you were into gaming and sports, and that was going to be your particular genre. These only cost $5. Now, sometimes I need to buy the slightly larger size, which is only $6. It's so cheap. And what I love about this is you can check them out. Some of them you can put an image into, some you can't. Some you can put more text into than others. So it all depends on what you're going for. So here's one where you can put a logo. I'm mousing over it. You can see what it looks like and hear the music. This has a place for a logo and some names. Let's do another one. This one's 10 seconds long. So let's say we want to see what it's going to look like customized with our own information. We can check it out before even buying it. So what we're going to do is come in here. Now this one doesn't have an image to put in, but if it did, you could put in your logo or you could put in a photograph. But let's say here, and you don't have to use the fields exactly like they say, but they say name. So, okay, I'm going to put my name and slogan. I'm going to put the slogan for one of my businesses anyway. Reach the pinnacle of your potential, and then your site. Well, I could put my YouTube. This is where you'd put your YouTube channel possibly. Let's put that. Okay, and then you click save and preview, and then it's going to play over and over until we stop it. Wait for it. Pretty neat, huh? Then it's going to play over and over until I stop it. But then if you're ready to buy, you just click order. So you want to make sure that everything's typed correctly before you order. And like I said, I would buy the one in the 1080. So let's go back and look at another one. Okay, come on. Sometimes it doesn't act nice going back. All the way back. Okay, stop. We'll just go back here. And I might edit some of this. When you just mouse over these things, they start turning on. Let's look at one that is, let's see, for you ladies out there who might be doing beauty and glamour type channels. Maybe you're doing something on, oh, here's one with a photo. Off camera, I actually chose 2 images and 2 texts. So let's see how it looks. Okay, and then it's going to play over and over like I told you. So what you want to do is come in here and look at as many as possible in your category. They're just so much fun, and pick one. And what they do is after you order it, you pay for it through PayPal, and then they'll email you a link, but when you click the link, it downloads into your computer, and then it's a file that you can just pull right into your editing software. It's fantastic, and you cannot beat the price. This is a great way to get a professional looking intro for your videos. Most video editing software packages have the things that I'm going to show you in this lecture. We're going to look at transitions, callouts, which is also known as text, and how to put in other images. So I've already imported the intro we made in an earlier lecture and 2 videos. So if I play it, it looks like this. And when the intro ends, it just goes to this. So I love transitions. I've clicked transitions here, and there are all different kinds of transitions that you can do and play with. I often use fade, this one, because it's simple and it doesn't make people's eyes go goofy. So you saw how that went. Let me do it again, just in case you missed it. There we go. So if you don't like that one, you can right-click it and click delete. I also like the cube rotate, although in this newer version of Camtasia, it happens really fast and you have to click and drag it down here to about 3. Oh, it's not letting me do 3. Hello. 4 is kind of slow, but okay, you see how slow that is. Or we can shorten it and make it, oh, it's not letting me do 3 now. Sometimes it just whips around. So that one's neat. And I'll do one more. Let's see. The page turn is kind of interesting. Let's see how fast it goes though. That's okay. So then over on the right, I have another clip to clip. So we end one clip and then it goes into another clip very suddenly. So this is where I might want to do another one. Here's one called wheel. It might move really fast, so I'm going to elongate it. Let's see it. And transition. Nice, huh? So I love doing transitions between clips, especially the fade, like I said, because it doesn't create an eye test for people. So the second thing I love are callouts. So I'm going to put my playhead back here and I'm going to click callouts. This is also known as text. So some of these things up here I can put text into, or down here on the lower right I can use text here. And it's just, actually it starts off in the middle, and that's just going to be text in a box. It always defaults as centered. I often like to start at make it left justified and put your text here, whatever you want. And then obviously I don't want it that color or that size, so I'm going to select it and make it white and make it bigger. And then I can stretch this out. And there is my text, and play it. And it has a fade in and it has a fade out. And if I want it to fade faster or slower, I can do that. So while it's selected, I can scroll down, and these are the defaults: fade in a second and fade out is a second. I can even get rid of the fade, or I can increase the fade, and you can see in the timeline how that looks. And let's see how this looks. and then it's going to end. But besides text, there are also all of these other kinds of callouts too. There are arrows. You might have seen me put this sketch in motion. So let's say I want to circle the dog's face. Let's see if she stays where I want her to, and then play it. Circle the dog's face. And now let's see if she's going to move. And I can always change the length of it and when it fades. So I like that one a lot. And then if I need a background, with text, I'll use this simple rectangle. I don't like the color that it starts off with, but let's say I want to change the fill and I want to make it light green. I can do that. I can start off over here and say, put text in a box with a color background. And of course, now I don't like the white. Now I want it to be black, and I want it to be bigger than this. And it didn't seem to do anything. Where is it? Well, isn't that the magic? There it is. And you can resize it and move it and decide how long you want it to appear, which is really nice. And then again, you can see all these different shapes. Some of these are just shapes without text, but these ones at the top are text, and the very one at the bottom is text. Otherwise, you can have pointers show up. That's why they're called callouts. All right, then the other thing I wanted to show you is how to pull in another image. Now, I've imported 2 JPEG files, and they're in my clip bin. So let's say I actually want it to show up with this. I'm going to bring it into another track. Now the thing is, when you bring in these photos, they're going to fill up the whole screen. So you can resize them to just be in a corner. So like this one, and you can make them as long as you want. And there's no fading, they just pop in and pop out. So here's this one that's going to pop in, and I just elongated the length of it, and then it's going to pop out all of a sudden right here. Now let's say you're talking instead of, let's say it's you instead of a dog, and you want to bring in this image right here. And you just want it for a few seconds, but you want it to take up the whole screen while you're talking for just a few seconds, and you're still talking in the background. So if I move the playhead back a little bit, again, instead of a dog barking, you'd be talking, you'd show something, and then you'd be back to you. So in my Camtasia Studio, whatever is on a higher number track is what shows on top. So if you want something to be put behind, you have to have it on a lower number track. So as you play with this and play with your video editor, you'll learn how to work with it, and you'll learn by making mistakes. Oops, I should have done this first, but that's just part of it. So that was transitions, callouts, and other images. I'm going to show you how to create a simple end clip that can be used later in your videos. So I've created something here in PowerPoint, and I'm going to make it a JPEG. And you'll see here that I have something called subscribe at the top, put some pictures, some words, and click here. So I'm going to be pulling this into my video editor, making it part of the video, and then in a later lecture inside YouTube, we'll make this the top subscribe red button clickable, and the yellow button on the left will make that clickable as well. So let's go over to the video editor. I've already pulled in the intro video. I'll drag that down, and some video. And now I have to import this end clip and remember where I put it. Okay, test end clip. Oh, text. Sometimes I misspell the word test and call it text. And I'm going to click it and drag it and put it at the end. So the first thing is when it comes into my video editor, this end clip is only 5 seconds long. So I'm going to right click it and click duration, and it's very tiny, and I'm going to increase it to 10 seconds. All right. Then remember my transitions. I like a transition at the beginning, and I would like a transition at the end. And then I'm going to put music at the end. So let's see how this looks so far in case I want to change the length of the transition. So it's pretty good. So now I like to start my end music, which I've already brought in as well. I like to start that before we get to the end clip, but you can start it at the end clip if you want. I also haven't saved this yet, so I need to do that and save it with all my test work that I'm doing for this test video with end clip. So the end clip in this case is not an actual video, it's just a JPEG file. So now I'm going to pull in this music called Dog and Pony Show. It's obviously going to be too loud and too long. So if I play it, see, it's very loud. And let's say I'm still talking over it. So to bring the volume down, I'm going to lock track 1, because this is on track 2, go to audio, and I'm going to bring that audio down. And then I'm going to put my playhead right where the end clip ends and right click it and split, and then get rid of that extra volume. Okay, so now bringing it back to this audio clip and make sure it's selected, then I want to fade out. So let's see how that sounds. So I'm going to bring the playhead a little bit before the music. So there's the music, and now we're going to the end clip. And I'll make sure it fades out properly. And that's it. So that's how you add an end clip. Again, I just do it as a JPEG, and how you add music to the end, making it quieter and making it fade out and making it end exactly at the same time as your end clip. And then, like I said, in a later lecture, we're going to learn how to make this subscribe button clickable inside YouTube and this yellow button clickable as well.